Alright, you guys, so I was starting off with making a CC video. I was honestly really bored. So I want to actually go into this Ponzonomics guy because this seems to be the anti-MLM god. Everybody reads his book. I don't know if you guys know this, but not every book that is written is accurate, and some have agendas. And this Robert L. Fitzpatrick guy is a little bit suspicious, but everybody listens to him. Where the heck did he even come from? I've done some research on him. He even said he never lost money in an MLM. And I've talked about this before, but he has some links to Dale Alquist. You guys can look this guy up. He's freaking weird. He has a cult school, and it doesn't have that many people in. He doesn't have that many people in his school. But for some reason, Trump elected him on the board of education, and well, you guys can look him up. But this Robert L. Fitzpatrick has been on numerous channels, including CoffeeZilla and other people's. Cece was going to do an interview with him. Basically, I interrupted that whole thing, and I'm very happy it happened. Hopefully, she never brings him up again. Maybe she will. Who knows? But he's a little bit suspicious, and he also doesn't know much. And I don't know if he's trying to be an author or what exactly he's trying to do, trying to instigate some kind of fear. The way I see it, MLMs are the easiest way to start a business. If you're paying attention to our government right now, they are making it impossible for people to start their own businesses, eat food. They're making it hard for the American people. And MLMs are the easiest way to start a business. You don't need a salaried workforce. You don't need to pay workers' comp. You don't need to do any of that. All you need is a product, service, or whatever else, and then get people on your team also promoting it. That is how easy starting an MLM is. I can tell you right now in California, to hire somebody for 3 to 4 hours per week will cost me no less than $1,500 to $2,000. It's impossible for me to get help. I mean, this might be easy for some people, but like I said, MLMs are just like affiliate marketing. There are benefits to not having salaried workers, but at the same time, there are people that take advantage of not having salaried workers. I can acknowledge that. So yes, call those people out. But at the same time, I see nothing but benefits with starting your own MLM. So let's get into this interview.
To part 2 of my video about the book Ponzonomics. I hope everyone watched and enjoyed part 1. If you missed it, I'll put the link here or here somewhere for you to watch. Without any further hesitation, I would like to introduce my guest today, the author of the book himself, Robert L. Fitzpatrick.
Yes, thank you. Very nice.
All right. Thank you so much for joining me today, Robert. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you. In North Carolina, that's where I live. So long ways away, but I think the topic we're speaking about covers universal.
That is true. So let's get right into it. Reading your book, one can tell that a lot of research went into writing it. You're really giving us the full picture here. What was your inspiration to write such a detailed book about MLM?
Well, first of all, there are no other books. There was one, that was one of the first inspirations. Here is a phenomenon affecting hundreds of millions of people over a long period of time.
Hundreds of millions. Okay. If you guys do your research, 1 in 13 people in America, just America, have been in an MLM. Yes, it's affected a lot of people, as in a lot of people have been involved. It has been involved in an MLM because they are so common. They've been common since like the 20s, the 50s. Like, MLMs have been around for a really long time. And if anything, they really helped people that couldn't get jobs make money. That would be women. That would be African Americans, minorities that couldn't get jobs. Everything today wasn't like everything that's happening today. All this inclusion wasn't happening many years ago. So let's just start there.
In over 170 countries, hundreds of billions of dollars involved, being lost. So a book.
Hundreds of billions, hundreds of millions. Kind of sounds like Trump, I'm going to be honest.
I felt was needed, has been needed for a long time, that addressed this topic directly, that dissected it, deconstructed it. As to why I wrote it, it was an outgrowth of years of work, and my first encounter with pyramid schemes occurred many years ago, fascinated me, got me interested in trying to understand how they work, what are they, and it's...
Pyramid schemes are different from MLMs. Again, you can read this directly on the FTC or on Fundera. Yes, a pyramid scheme can hide as an MLM. A pyramid scheme can hide as any business.
It sort of carried itself forward. I did write another book, an earlier book, a more general book on the subject. And from that book, I was contacted by attorneys to serve as an expert witness. Many journalists contacted me, so I could see that I had information that was valuable and important to many people, and but it had never been brought together into one document that explained where this whole phenomenon began, how does it work, why do people lose their money, and why is it allowed by governments? And so that was the impetus for putting it all together into a book.
All right, and for our viewers, your first book is called False Prophets, right?
Yes, False Prophets is a more generic book that really delved into the values and some of the historical values, particularly in the United States, that sort of generated this mindset here, magical thinking that supports the pyramid scheme. Well, we can speak about that.
Let's talk about magical thinking. Magical thinking. I just want to look this up so you guys can see. Magical thinking or superstitious thinking is a belief that unrelated events are causally connected despite the absence of any plausible causal link between them, particularly as a result of supernatural effects. That's not... whatever. That's not the definition. Let's see. Magical thinking is the belief that your thoughts, feelings, or actions will affect someone's behavior or the outcome of a situation. Magical thinking includes confusing coincidence with causality, animism, attributing motivations to inanimate objects and events, and unrealistic beliefs about This is also called wishful thinking. Wishful thinking is believing what you want to be true, no matter the evidence or without evidence at all, or assuming something is not true because you don't want it to be so. The belief that one's ideas, thoughts, actions, words, or use of symbols can influence the course of events in the material world. The magical belief that one's mind can control things it can't. Example, positive thinking will bring you wealth or love. Thinking positive or thinking magical. Too many people, positive thinking is a good thing, a complement to, or even an extension of science. Since the coronavirus outbreak in March, experts have been urging Americans to stay positive, as the virus wreaks havoc around us. This advice is so pervasive that you might think that the ideas people have about contagion, isolation, and job loss could somehow influence reality. American culture has long been invested in thinking positive. It's one key example of what some devotees call the power of mind. Embracing this attitude brought about a confident, outwardly, and forwardly focused personality, one well suited to the volatile economy of the late 19th and early in the early 20th century. A failed businessman named Napoleon Hill repackaged many of these ideas about mental power into a manual titled Think and Grow Rich. So the idea that you can manifest or attract those things into the life of the believer. The power of positive thinking. Recently, critics have noted that encouraging positive thinking as a response to adversity may have a downside. Positive affirmations may have limited effects on cancer or systemic racism. And someone who has uncritically internalized a belief in thinking positive may feel it's their own fault if they remain ill or marginalized. This critique suggests there may be limits on the benefits of positivity. At what point does positive thinking become delusional? But another way, when does positive thinking become magical thinking? The term magical thinking was born in the same Victorian moment as mind cure, and it also reflects the period's fascination with new scientific discoveries, albeit in a different way. Early anthropologists used the term magical thinking to describe the behaviors of primitive or tribal peoples, those who believed their prayers and rituals could actually influence the course of events. Anthropologists themselves disdain the magic on which their subjects rely. Who needed stuff like that when you had science on your side? As the pandemic wears on, injunctions to positive thinking and excoriations of magical thinking continue to crowd the public conversation. Too many people are positive thinking is a good thing, a complement to or even an extension of science. In contrast, Magical thinking is usually perceived as bad, almost always a contradiction of science. But the eerie similarities between the two habits of mind remain largely overlooked. In the absence of real medical and economic solutions to the COVID-19 pandemic effects, we shouldn't be surprised to see that both forms of mind over matter thinking persist, regardless of how ineffective or dangerous they prove to be. Understanding their common Victorian roots may help us lower our expectations for any benefits of positivity and raise our tolerance for magic, all while maintaining a healthy skepticism of both. I agree, as in, like, people should be careful. Yes, you can't wish or positive think away illnesses and stuff like that. But yes, positivity is good to have in your life. If you had cancer, yes, it may be it doesn't hurt to be like positive till your dying day, even then. So what's the point of this? I don't know. But magical thinking is basically positive thinking. And what he's trying to basically infer is that positive thinking is bad. And that's his whole spiel. You can't go around encouraging, you can't go around motivating because it's fake. And it may seem fake to some people, right? But it may seem fake to negative people. And, there are negative people around. Yes, there are a lot of people that love to do affirmations. We see it. I've seen it so many times. I love to positive think. What's the problem with it? Let's continue with his interview.
A little more maybe when we talk about the American dream.
Yes, exactly. We have more questions covering this topic. In the book, you talk about MLM recruiters calling people like us, journalists, researchers, losers. Do you consider them to be winners?
No, not at all. It's not a win-lose situation. It's multi-level marketing is designed and deceptively to gain people's money on false pretenses, withholding certain information, asserting false information, and managing to, in many cases, successfully get people to give their money. That's not a win.
What do you mean by giving their money? Because all they have to do is buy a starter pack and buy stuff at wholesale prices, and nowadays you don't even have to do that. But I want you guys to notice this guy is freaking old. Sorry, this guy is really old. What is his degree? I've been trying to find out who this guy is. Does he even know business? Who is he?
Predatory. It's predatory. And it's not business. Business involves voluntary transactions between people.
Obviously, he doesn't know much about business. Yes, it should be like that. It shouldn't be predatory. But you'll find a lot of predatory tactics in business in general, not just in MLMs. So I don't know. I don't know if what his plan is, but if he's just trying to sell his book or what he's trying to do, but he's obviously who is he? Who is he to say all these things? What is his background? And you can't really find much of that.
With sufficient knowledge to enter into these transactions voluntarily, and then resulting in a reasonable exchange of value. That's a business. That's what all business is.
Exactly.
Okay, let's look at the definition for business because I feel like this is a common problem. What defines as a business? A business is defined as an organization or enterprising entity engaged in commercial, industrial, or professional activities. Businesses can be for profit or they can be for non-profit. Business types range from limited liability companies to sole proprietorships, corporations, and partnerships. Let's see. Business is activity of making one's living or making money by producing or buying and selling products such as goods and services. Okay, so when you're saying someone's not a business owner, what is this definition again? Business is the activity of making one's living. That's business, making money. Doesn't matter. Or making money by producing or buying and selling products. And I know this is Wikipedia, but let's see right here. Investopedia. A business is defined. Oh, it's the same thing. Dun dun dun. What are the main characteristics of business? Economic activity, of producing goods and services and making them available to consumers. Buying and selling, continuous process. Profit motive, risks and uncertainties, creative and dynamic, customer satisfaction, social activity. What is the difference between business and employment? The main objective of business is to earn a profit. The main objective of a profession is to provide service. The main objective of employment is to earn income in the form of salary by satisfying the employer. There is no prescribed code of conduct for business. Okay?
If I trick you, if I deceive you and I get your money and you don't get what I had told you you would get, that's not a business transaction. So
Sure.
Winners and losers, there are winners and losers in competitive situations. There are winners and losers in business, but this is not business and this is not competitive. So I think the terms are really used only to demean people and discourage them and discredit them. Rather than, it has no bearing on reality, though.
All right, so no winners or losers in MLM. We both know that any MLM company is either a pyramid or a Ponzi scheme. Could you elaborate on that?
Obviously, she doesn't know her definitions. A pyramid scheme is a Ponzi scheme. The Ponzi scheme, I guess, is the most well-known pyramid scheme. So that's where most people get it. But if you really look at the history, there's been a lot of pyramid schemes. A lot of people taking advantage of other people. Kings and queens, peasants, I've mentioned this before. People that have listened or are listening. Pyramid schemes are as old as time. And Ponzi wasn't the first one. I know a lot of people like to think so. Americans would like to think so. It's just the most well-known one.
Yes. So, in general, and this is another reason I wanted to write the book. Over and over and over, I hear the question presented, what's the difference between multi-level marketing and a pyramid scheme, right? Also phrased as, can you please tell me the difference between a legitimate multi-level marketing company and an illegitimate pyramid scheme that calls itself multi-level marketing. What's the difference? So I and other colleagues of mine were asked this question so often, and we finally decided to do the simplest thing, to break down what and deconstruct what multi-level marketing actually is. So, and rather than ask...
Okay. Multi-level marketing. Let's see. Multi-level marketing is a business model that involves unsalaried, hierarchical sales teams selling products directly to consumers in conjunction with recruiting additional company sales representatives. Multi-level marketing may also be referred to as referral marketing or network marketing. Is MLM a pyramid scheme? Businesses, this is FTC right here, okay? Businesses that involve selling products to family and friends and recruiting other people to do the same are called multi-level marketing, network marketing, or direct marketing businesses. Some MLMs are illegal pyramid schemes, just like some businesses are illegal pyramid schemes. Okay. Multi-level marketing is a monetary strategy used by direct sales companies to encourage existing distributors to recruit new distributors. Again, this is Wikipedia. Don't trust Wikipedia. Multi-level marketing, also known as direct marketing or network marketing, is a method of selling products directly to consumers. Multi-level marketing or network marketing is individuals selling products to the public, often by word of mouth and direct sales. Again, distribution model companies used to get their product to consumers instead of directly offering their products to consumers. Multi-level marketing, a form of direct selling in which a major chunk of a person's income comes not from sales. What is this? This seems bad. How the pandemic stoked a backlash to multi-level marketing. This is how you know it's kind of biased. But let's see. YouTube vigilantes are taking consumer advocacy into their own hands. Biased. Okay. But let's just read this, just so we can see how unbiased this is. Okay, why is it not going down? Hello? Let me refresh this page. Oh, it's try 1 month free. Sorry, it won't let me look at it. I wish I could move this. Let's try another one. I swear I'll show it to you. If you guys go on this, you have to pay for it. So I'm not lying. I would watch it. They want you to pay for that article. Bias. What is the difference between MLM and pyramid? Pyramid schemes are, however, fraudulent Pyramid schemes are, however, fraudulent schemes disguised as an MLM strategy. The difference between a pyramid scheme and a lawful MLM program is that there is no real product that is sold in a pyramid scheme. Participants attempt to make money solely by recruiting new participants into the program. Again, there is no real product that is sold in a pyramid scheme. No product, no service. Participants attempt to make money solely by recruiting new participants into the program. Okay? So, let's hear what his definition is.
Asking when people say, please compare or tell me the difference, let's start with defining multi-level marketing by itself. We came up with 4 elements to it. That is universal, every multi-level marketing has them. and they are defining traits. They are not superficial, they are defining traits. The first one is the most important one. They are based on an endless chain. No other business is based on this. So I recruit you and I tell you, you can make money.
Okay. If you know about multi-level marketing, in anything, just money. Imagine you're selling one product for $25. How many times you can only divide money so much before there's nothing. There is no endless pyramid. There's no endless downline, upline. You can only divide money so much. Obviously, this guy is trying to trigger people just like other people are trying to trigger people. I'll hear him out.
If you recruit 5 other people, you ask me, how do I recruit 5 other people? You tell those 5 they can recruit each 5 more, and so on forever. It ignores limits of markets. It ignores product demand. It ignores the number of people available and so on. All MLMs are based on that. Second, you have to...
No, it is not. Okay. The reason I started all of this was because I wanted to start my own MLM. Do I want to start it right now? I don't know, in the future, because I do have plans for my channel, but this is more in the future. I was involved in cannabis, right? And cannabis cooking. So what I wanted my affiliate program to be was selling cooking items for making cannabis, right? And these are high profit items. And then I would just basically tell people like, hey, you can make a commission off of this product. Just get people to buy it, or you can make a tutorial, whatever you want to do, whatever that people I'm talking to, they can promote it, they can make tutorials, they can make their own website, whatever it may be. And I did have a lot of people interested in this, right? So I don't know, this guy doesn't tell his credentials. A lot of people listen to this guy for some reason. Just because people come out with books doesn't make them experts. Anyone can publish a book, okay? I'm not talking down, but like, we gotta realize that like, not everything you should take for fact. And there are people with certain agendas, as in trying to make money for themselves, playing on people's fears. And that's what I really find in the anti-MLM movement, especially at this moment. It's pretty interesting when he released his book, which was at the beginning of 2020. But a lot of these people are playing on fears, which is 1%, 2%, pyramids, triangles. I know this may not make sense, but you know, a lot of people are scared of triangles. It's just this conspiracy thing, playing on conspiracy fears, okay?
Always pay. It's not just an opportunity. You have to pay to get in on this chain. So people often ask, they're presented as this is like a job. You get a job, but then when you arrive for the job, they tell you have to pay.
Yeah.
So why am I paying?
Okay, this isn't a job. This is an independent contracting job. And yeah, you have to pay because you are slightly a business owner and you're getting this product. Because you're not salaried, you don't really have any loyalty to the company. So yes, you have to pay for the product. Not everything's given to you for free. That's not how life works. Even if you're starting your own business. But I've worked at jobs, again, that they make you pay for stuff. Hollister, I worked at Hollister, and you had to buy 2 outfits each season. And this is like, each season was like every 3 months, every 4 months. This is nothing new, okay?
For my job, you know?
Yeah, that's true.
The third thing is you have to recruit. If you're going to make money in multi-level marketing, even though it's called direct selling,
Yeah.
you have to recruit other people or other salespeople, so-called salespeople. So there's a recruiting mandate. So there's an endless chain. There's a pay to play. You have to pay. To make money, you have to recruit.
No, you don't. But even if you did, as long as there's product being sold, like we just read on the FTC, it's not a pyramid scheme. If the whole company is only focused on recruiting and there's no money being made, no product being sold, or there's no service, or just basically just stealing people's money, that is a pyramid scheme, okay? I'm saying okay a lot. I'm so sorry. But I know this is getting a little repetitive in my brain. I know that you guys are new to this, or just hearing this. But yes, you have to pay to play, I guess. What's so bad with that? Again, each company's different. You look at their products. You would know what company you want to join. Again, you're having access to wholesale prices, nothing new. People pay for Costco memberships. Anyone involved in business, if you want to buy stuff at wholesale prices, you have to buy in bulk. Wholesale means buying in bulk. So, yes, when you buy one item of something, it is expensive. But if you buy 20 of that item, it depends on what business, that they'll give it to you for wholesale. I forgot my point. Let's just keep going.
And the fourth element is that the pay formula, the method of how it works. How do I get paid on this? How does it work? If you look at that formula, for the financial formula for how money moves around, it's an extreme transfer. The people who come in at the end, the majority of their money goes right to the top of the chain. Doesn't go to the person that just first recruits them, or even the next.
How do you even know this? I mean, it's just instigating so much fear. He's really damaging people. It just goes to the top. It goes to the top. Everyone hates when money goes right to the top, right? But how do you know that? You don't even have to be on a team, really. Like, you can just be, again, it's like affiliate marketing. You could be making all the money yourself unless you want to work on a team. This is an option. And it doesn't go all the way to the top. But even then, okay, let's start with this. Most MLMs, if it's a smart way, you only have like 3 to 7 levels per each, like, downline, upline, whatever it is. Because, again, you can only break down money so much. And then there's unlimited levels left or right. I mean, not levels, but there are different unlimited teams, but there are limits on how many levels, okay?
It goes straight up to the top. A little bit goes in between, but most of it goes. So if you put those four together, an endless chain, you have to pay, you have to recruit, and there's an extreme money transfer from the last ones into the, you see, that's precise definition of a pyramid scheme. So multi-level marketing is...
No. That is not the definition of a pyramid scheme. Let's look at pyramid scheme. Because that's not what it says. If the MLM is not a pyramid scheme, it will pay you based on your sales to retail customers without having to recruit new distributors. I think I need a definition. According to the FTC, pyramid schemes generally operate by investors paying an initial sum to a promoter. Yes. Kind of halfway. I mean, if you're just paying them and you're not getting anything in exchange, basically. So you're just giving them money, and they're just saying, "Oh, we got you later," but you're not receiving anything. And they keep on doing that. They just keep on taking money. And they're probably promising something in return, and nothing's getting in return. Just money keeps on piling in. Nothing's being sold. That is a pyramid scheme. Let's look. This is from Cornell. Pyramid scheme. A pyramid scheme is a fraudulent multi-level marketing arrangement. What year is this? July 2020. So we gotta be aware of dates, okay? Generally, the scheme operates under the guise of selling a product, though the profit from the scheme is based on a number of recruits rather than the strength of sales. According to the FTC, pyramid schemes generally operate by investors paying an initial sum to a promoter. The investor is then instructed to recruit a set number of additional investors, who must then also recruit more investors. Investors are told they will be compensated for their recruits as well as for the recruits of their recruits. This would appear to result in a profit from the initial investment. However, while earlier investors may make a profit, later investors generally pay more than they will ever recoup. And this is a pyramid scheme, not an MLM. At this point, the promoter retains a majority of the money from the investors' initial sums and often does not need to pay out any recruitment compensation to later investors. This is because pyramid scheme eventually collapses when later investors cannot find additional investors, called market saturation. So basically, there's just so many people investing, and they can't find anyone else fresh to also basically get into their little scheme. It's not necessarily just for MLMs. It's anyone in business, and you can see that on the FTC page. This is because the pyramid scheme eventually collapses when later investors cannot find additional investors. The FTC estimates that around 89% of the investors either cannot make a profit or cannot recoup their investment by the time a pyramid scheme collapses. So that's why it's so bad, is because these people lose money because basically all these people are just stealing their money and not doing anything with it. They're not selling a product. They're not investing it in something else. They're just taking the money, okay? Pyramid schemes are often illegal. Something with this, how this is worded. Who put this on here? Because it would be MLMs are often illegal because all pyramid schemes are illegal. They differ from legitimate MLMs in that profit gained in an MLM is based mostly on product sales and not on recruitment. Okay? We go with that? Okay, I don't know what's wrong with me today. Pyramid schemes are related to Ponzi schemes, though there are some differences. This is a freaking, whatever. Ponzi scheme. Ponzi schemes are a type of investment fraud in which investors are promised artificially high rates of return with little or no risk. Original investors are the perpetrators of the fraud are paid off by funds from later investors. So basically, they're taking the money from the new investors to pay to the OG investors. But what happens to these later investors, right? But there's little or no actual business activity that produces revenue. So I think there's a rule in FTC, like a 70-30 rule, for how much you have to be selling and recruiting. Again, that's a rule in the FTC, so it's allowed, but you have to have kind of like an evenness to it. The scheme generates funds for previous investors so long as there is a consistent flow of funds from new investors. This gives the impression that the early investments drastically increased in value in a short period of time. The scheme inevitably collapses when too many investors demand redemption, or when the scheme fails to attract a sufficient number of new investments. Remember that market saturation? The Ponzi scheme is named after Charles Ponzi, who in 1920 defrauded thousands of investors in Boston. Ponzi schemes continuously pose threats to investors, often resulting in billions lost every year in the United States. And given the nature of the scheme, legal remedies for victims often cannot compensate for lost investments. Yeah, most likely because the money's already spent, right? Ponzi schemes pose major challenges for victims and investment authorities because the schemes involve many broken laws across multiple levels of government and often hundreds of victims with differing interests. I would say if you guys are paying attention to our government right now, everything's broken. Why can't guns go away? I'm sorry if I'm triggering some people, but because people are fighting. It's all about money. It's all about money. Our system is so old. If we're paying attention to some people that wrote stuff a million years ago, and they had no idea the internet would exist, or what kind of guns we would have, or what kind of problems we would have. We have so many mental issues today in age, and that's mostly because of poverty and stuff like that. They wouldn't have known this. Our government's so messed up just because we're paying attention to some dead guys what they wanted, okay? It's nothing new in our government. Enforcement against the schemers can be made by and also like the people that they're suing probably don't have any money, so that's why it can't be recouped. There is no guarantee, as in kind of like in banks, if you lose money they guarantee up to $250,000, and this is the result of a depression, because so many people lost money, so they're like basically wanting people to trust in banks again. So the US is weak. We owe so much money and we need help here, right? Enforcement against the schemers can be made by individuals and governments with potential civil and criminal remedies. So yes, you might not be able to recoup the money. Maybe the person will go to jail. We've seen some pyramid schemers go to jail. What's the one that just went to jail? She was a woman. For charges like securities fraud, fraudulent transfer, and disgorgement. Many legal difficulties arise in determining which funds a bankruptcy trustee in court can access, who receives which part of the funds. There is not enough funds to pay all the investors and their principal back, and some investors may have already received profits from the enterprise. Often, profits can be taken from investors to compensate for principal lost by other investors. The more challenging issue is determining whether investors and other parties involved in managing the scheme should have done more in preventing the scheme, and therefore should lose principal and fees already received. Another issue arises in determining what assets of the individuals orchestrating the scheme may be taken, especially regarding what assets they have given to others, like family members, may be retrieved. The laws govern, so like maybe they gave away property, just basically taking whatever these people owe. It's basically the people that commit these schemes won't have the money, might have the money, but again, you have to pay for the lawyer. Our system is broken. And also they don't want to help us. They're not going to pay for your court fees. So yes, it is hard for people to recoup their money. Is it some people are gullible, they shouldn't have given their money in the first place, but also our government's not going to help you recoup that money. They're going to be like, that's too bad. So if you want to like get that money back, you have to have money to sue them, right? Or do a class action lawsuit if there's a lot of people in that same thing. But again, there's no promise that you will get the money because it's most likely already spent, hidden. People that are doing these kind of schemes are pretty smart. Again, schemes are everywhere. Okay. Another issue arises in determining what assets of the may be taken. The laws governing these bankruptcy, fraud, and securities matters vary greatly across federal and state laws and involve case-specific inquiries into the relationships and rights involved in the cases. Yes, that's completely true. It's just so complicated. We have 50 states, laws are different. And how much they care. Do they really care? It's like they're like, you lost some money, that's your fault. But yeah, you can sue, but it's gonna cost you money. So it's our system's so broken, and it's a government issue, really. Let's continue.
Is defined, operates as a pyramid scheme. It uses buy-sell transactions as its method. Others use club member.
If you look on the FTC, they do not say anything that this guy is saying. These are all conspiracy theories. What is he trying to do?
Membership or financial investment or whatever. But in multi-level marketing, the transactions are disguised as buy, sell, or sales transactions. But really, it is all based on recruiting and transferring this money from the last one's end to the top.
All right, so
that's a pyramid scheme. That's not an MLM. You can look on the FTC again.
Now you defined it already a little bit. I will read your definition. At the beginning of the book, you define Ponzonomics as, I quote, a pseudo-economic, all-encompassing, delusional belief system that promotes the swindle of a Ponzi or pyramid scheme as a valid economic model that promises believers a fulfilling and financially rewarding way of life, complete with mission, values, leadership, and worldview. The societal spread of Ponzonomics is necessarily accompanied by governmental collusion. How would you describe a belief system?
Yes, this is so important for people who get caught up in multi-level marketing. To understand this, that multi-level marketing is not just a financial scam. It's not just I sell you a product and it's overpriced, or it doesn't work, or I don't back it up with a warranty or something like that. That's
okay. Not every product that's sold has a warranty. That's just how it works. Not everything has a return policy. And I'll just continue. I know I'm being a little pause happy.
Financial scam. Multi-level marketing is being conducted on a vast scale. So it's a fraud committed on an industrial scale. It isn't just me tricking you. It's the perpetrators of the scheme attempting to defraud and deceive thousands and thousands of people, all at the same time. And then to keep it going year after year after year, even as most of these people, 90% are going to be losing, quitting, and new groups come in. How do you make such?
It's not 90%. That's a really old statistic. Now we know today it's 74%, but again, it's because not every person's a salesperson. So I'm not saying some people don't lose money. I'm pretty sure, again, if it's a scam, some people do lose money. And so, like in regular business, if it is a scam. I've been scammed before. So, I mean, like, have you been to some hair companies? Because I've been into, like, buying some wigs lately. Some, like, you have a nice model, right? Like, with really nice hair. And then you order it. It looks nothing like that. There's this one website, I forget what it's called. Everyone makes fun of it. This is nothing new in business. People scam to make money. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate, but it's also for people that are smart in business. You want to like build customer trust, and you don't want to have a bad rep. That's just being smart.
Such a system work? Well, you do this by presenting it as far more than just money and far more than just a business. It is a way of life, and it involves a belief system. And they frequently tell you, in order for this to work, that it's a different kind of economic system. It works if you believe in it. If you doubt it, it won't work. So when you say, well, what about all those other people that lost their money and quit? Well, they didn't believe. Yeah. So now, what is it they're asking you to believe? One of the things they're asking you to believe, part of the belief system, is that everything is possible if you believe. Anything can happen.
I don't know if you noticed this, but again, bringing up the magical thinking. That positive thinking is negative. Sorry people encourage and motivate. Sorry some people find like that triggering. I think it's only triggering for people that aren't like that have no idea, that can't relate to that way of thinking. Let's go ahead.
Reality is only what you believe it to be. There is no objective reality. So when I present rational data on losses, when I present the mathematics of a pyramid scheme showing that the majority are at the bottom and will always be at the bottom and therefore have to lose, when I speak about the numbers that you can't expand forever, they just say, well,
yeah, you can't expand them forever. You made up freaking math. He doesn't really know much, you guys. I hope you can see through it.
That's just your way of thinking. If you believe it, if you have confidence, if you have vision, you can make this work for you. So it is presented then first as an economic model based on the pyramid scheme. If I could just recruit 5 and they recruit 25, look how much money I could be. So that's the first one, something that theoretically, at least it seems, could offer me unlimited money, far more than you'd ever make in your salary, far more than your job would ever give you. So this is opportunity of a lifetime based on the pyramid scheme or the endless chain expansion. How could such a thing work? It's based on the idea that you can shape reality through power of belief, right? So now you have people who claim...
What is this crazy thinking, bro? Seriously, like, this guy is just fear-mongering. Seriously. He is... What is his agenda? Seriously. But I see this on the MLM. Obviously, has some people in his grip. I see it with juliejo. She freaking talks about QAnon all the time. Everyone's in QAnon. Oh my god. People that believe in conspiracies. There is conspiracy theories, but this is freaking ludicrous.
That they have this magical power. So they get on the stage and they present themselves like God-like figures, prophets, gurus. Yeah. And they give you a vision of how life should work. And among the other things they're telling you is what you should consider valuable and not valuable, and who you should associate with and not associate in order to maintain your belief and achieve this success. I have seen cases where people, in the midst of this, where they become so dominated and still failing, because of course they are going to fail financially, believing that this is going to bring them complete happiness, but it's only brought them misery. They've lost all their friends because they got rid of any friend that doubted it.
Exactly.
Have killed themselves, committed suicide.
What
So
the
it
hell
very
is he
dark.
even talking about? Oh my god, this guy is crazy. Oh my god, oh my god, he brought every trick out of the book. Like, seriously. He is not talking about ML. I mean, obviously he's trying to say pyramid schemes are MLMs. That all MLMs are pyramid schemes, but seriously, I'm sure this has happened. Some people have really messed up and they've invested too much money when they shouldn't have because they weren't being smart. Again, I've gone scammed before. But damn, seriously? Like, people are just offing themselves because, oh my gosh.
And it is an ideology of mind control and deception and financially defrauding people. So yeah, I think dark is the correct word for this.
So in your chapter, Playing a Math Trick, you show us how a pyramid scheme works in hard numbers. Why is it that so many people still don't seem to see it? A few ideas come to mind: persuasion of the recruiters, lack of education, desperate need of money, but I'm sure the viewers would be most interested in your view.
It is a combination of factors. I think you named some of the top ones. I would start first with the way multi-level marketing is spread. It is spread among people who already know each other, trust each other, may love each other. So if someone...
You see how he makes everything positive, negative? It's just something along this lines where, you know, misery loves company. Like, he just wants to stir the pot, huh? Before he leaves this earth, because he's about to croak. Seriously, dude. Like, what is this stuff? People are really listening to this guy. And I'm not getting to Roberta. I know I was supposed to get into Erin Bees, but I was lightly triggered, and then also I just want to listen to some other things, but this fear mongering. What is he doing? What is his plan? Who is he?
Solicits you, and remember, nobody joins multi-level marketing. They are always solicited. You know, I've never met people that woke up in the morning and said, I think I want to go join a multi-level marketing company. Never works like that. What happens is a friend, a relative, something they see online solicits them, invites them to join. Mm-hmm. Usually is somebody you know, somebody you trust. So that sets you up right away. Your guard drops way down. Your rational thinking. Why would you be suspicious? Somebody you've known for years is inviting you to do this, or someone who looks like you is part of your community. Mm-hmm. The second thing is it is disguised as something quite conventional and more or less benign. Selling a product, often a health product. Called a health product. They're not actual medicines, but vitamins, supplements, skin creams, and so on.
It's a fear mongering for me. Yeah, a lot of people are focused on selling vitamins right now. It's social media. Vitamins are good, but you can get them anywhere. A lot of people are selling vitamins and weight loss supplements and stuff like that. Nothing new to social media. I don't think this guy, is he even on the internet?
Sounds good. Certainly not products that appear to be dangerous or harmful. So it's disguised as something benign, something positive. So you've learned of this from someone who you knew and trusted. to engage in an activity that seems not harmful and positive, perhaps doing some good. You're then given pictures of the utopian potential results from this. Great money, vacations, nice cars, and so on. All of these things lower your now, you mentioned desperation, hope, and so on. And let's put it in real life context. Many people are struggling with debt, or students, and this doesn't always apply in Europe, but in the United States, students come out of school with a lot of debt.
Exactly, yeah.
And so on. But younger people in particular today, and often women, are looking for opportunities to have, basically be able to have a family, plus have financial security. That's hard to find.
Yeah, to work from home.
Saying, we can offer all of that to you. So, this is wrapped in very attractive, alluring disguises. The part that is the scam, the part that is the fraud, the part of it that is the financial transaction that's going to cause you to lose your money, is based on the pyramid scheme. The pyramid scheme is a fraud because of math. It's based on a math trick, you might say, as we talk.
You guys, come on, dude. Oh, what is his little plan, dude? Oh my god. Yes, women are the best in sales. Nothing new here. We know what people want.
Talked about. And it is true that this particular element of math eludes many people. It's a function of math, very simple, nothing complicated really, but it is true that it is a phenomenon of numbers that many people have never studied and don't look at. And I use the example in the book of the riddle. I would offer you $1 million today, right now, in cash in your hand. Or I will give you 1 penny in your hand today. And we will double that penny every day for 30 days. So the first day you're going to have a penny, second day you'll have 2 pennies, and the third day you'll have 4 pennies. We have 26 or 27 more days. Now, which do you choose? The million or the penny doubled? And it sort of blows your mind in a way to realize that penny, double, at a certain point will explode in numbers and become over $5 million on the 30th day.
What is this math and this doubling? How does it relate to sales? If you're in business, well, first, even math, this doesn't really, yes, doubling and doubling, but like, if you're actually in business, that's not how it works. You actually have to be selling things. And depending how good your business is and how good your salesperson, good salesperson or sales team, how much money you're making. This guy's weird.
So it doesn't sort of compute. It's a little bit of a blind spot, I think, in our rational minds. And the pyramid scheme is based on that. Oh, sure, you know 5 people. And hey, they will know 5 people, right? So right away you have 5, and then they each go out and get their 5 friends. Already 25, you have 30 people in your downline already, and you're going to get money from all of them. It sounds feasible, but when it's done on a large scale and you're 20 rows down, no, you won't find 5 who get 5. It won't happen like that for you. So I think it's a combination of the disguise, the motives that drive people into it, and that blind spot. I'll add one other element too. They introduce language to you that is what they call thought stopping. It's not really rational. Like you'll say, well, why do so many lose? Well, they quit. Well, why did they quit? Because they're losers. So, well, wait, they lost because they quit, but they quit because they're losers. Doesn't make any sense, but it stops you from thinking. So they dominate your time. They pour over you this thought process about believing can make anything happen, a lot of positive talk, testimonials of people who've succeeded. The leader is presented as someone who dominates you. If you question him, they say, you know, the leader is a multimillionaire. Are you a multimillionaire? Well, no. Well, then why would you think you know more than him? He's trying to help you. So the leader is exalted and presented there. These are all...
Obviously, this is going to attract people that really just think negatively. This is, what's this kind of media called? It's like red media, just basically trying to trigger people. This guy's giving me a headache.
All methods of mind control.
What?
So, considering all this, how can consumers protect themselves from losing money to an MLM company? Does a legitimate way of earning money through such a company even exist?
In my view, earning money in multi-level marketing is not legitimate. Which is not to say it's illegal.
Okay, let's look at Julie. She obviously said she made it to the top, right? She made money. Then Erin Bies, she said she made money. Jessica Hickson said she made money too. Who else? I don't know. I'm not really paying attention to, like, Cece says she quit in less than 72 hours of all her MLMs. So, like, who's really not making money?
Unfortunately, governments around the world have really not investigated or developed even policies toward this.
That's not true. The FTC has policies. They have, I think it's like a 70-30 rule. You have to be selling product, and that's not even, it's just a rule, and if it gets suspicious, they will investigate. So it's just like a guideline. So if you guys can go on the FTC and just check this yourself, this guy is just making up facts, and it just seems like a lot of people in the MLM are doing the same thing. It's just fear mongering. You're playing on people's insecurities. A lot of people are conspiracy theorists. It happens, especially in this time. Everything's a little bit suspicious. I would say this guy's smart for releasing the book when he did, but it's highly suspicious.
So you can't, as an individual, rely on the guidelines of government agencies. You cannot rely on law enforcement to sort of set the boundaries for what's legal and not legal for you. You can normally in business, when something is illegal, if you get into it and you lose your money, you might even go to jail.
What?
Okay, at least you knew. If you want to engage in...
If you lost your money, why would you go to jail for losing your money?
Criminal activity, you can do that, but there are consequences. In multi-level marketing, you wouldn't really know. Of all the schemes that have been prosecuted all over the world, almost nobody ever goes to jail. Mm-hmm. Millions of people have given money into those schemes that were later declared illegal. What was the difference between those schemes and all the others? The government does not explain this. So for me, I think the best advice to people and the best defense is to know as much as you can upfront about multi-level marketing. Not a particular one, all of them. to understand what you're getting at. If people saw a multi-level marketing, saw the characteristics, and got the buzzwords, recognized very quickly, this is multi-level marketing, that's a pyramid scheme, and a cult, mind control.
Okay. Please go to the FTC, you guys. This guy is just making up definitions. Nowhere on the FTC do they call the MLMs cults, and they make a separate distinction between an MLM and a pyramid scheme. And it says on the FTC, yes, pyramid schemes can disguise themselves as MLMs, but pyramid schemes are not just found in MLMs. Okay?
They'd stay away, even if they didn't understand it exactly.
Hey there, and thank you so much for your interest in my Ponzonomics series. As you might have noticed, the interview has gotten quite long since there were so many interesting topics to discuss. Click here to watch the second part of my conversation with Robert L. Fitzpatrick, and see you in the next one.
Alright, you guys. I hope I got some information in. Hopefully, for those listening, please don't trust books. Not every single book. Not every single YouTuber. Not every single website. You can go onto the FTC page and look for yourself the exact definitions and differences between each. I actually want to do, before I end this video, latest pyramid schemes. August 1st, 2022. SEC charges 11 individuals and 300 million crypto pyramid scheme. This is August 1st, 2022. The Securities and Exchange Commission today charged 11 individuals for their roles in creating and promoting Forsage, a fraudulent crypto pyramid and Ponzi scheme that raised more than $300 million for millions of retail investors worldwide, including in the United States. So they went outside the United States. Those charged include the 4 founders of Forsage, who are last known to be living in Russia. Dun, dun, dun. And scheme that operated in the U.S. from at least 5 different states. Vladimir Okhotnikov, Jane Doe, aka Lola Ferrari, a website that allowed millions of retail investors to enter into transactions via smart contracts that operated on the Ethereum, Tron, and Binance blockchains. However, Forsage allegedly has operated as a pyramid scheme for more than 2 years, in which investors earn profits by recruiting others into the scheme. Forsage also allegedly used assets from new investors to pay earlier investors in a typical Ponzi structure. Despite cease and desist actions against Forsage for operating as a fraud in September 2020 by the SEC of the Philippines and in March 2021 by the Montana Commissioner, the defendants allegedly continued to promote the scheme while denying the claims in several YouTube videos and by other means. As a complaint alleges, Forsage is a fraudulent pyramid scheme launched on a massive scale and aggressively marketed to investors. Fraudsters cannot circumvent the federal security laws by focusing their schemes on smart contracts and blockchains. Dun, dun, dun. Without admitting, agreed to settle the charges and to permanently enjoined from future violations of the charge provisions and certain other activity. Ellis agreed to pay disgorgement and civil penalties, and Thiessen will be required to pay disgorgement and civil penalties as determined by the court. Both settlements are subject to court approval. So, as of August 1st, 2022, this pyramid scheme has been charged. It's not legal, okay? But this is not even MLM, I think. Okay. Now, let's go. Top 10 famous pyramid schemes, 2022. The pyramid scheme is a business structure that pays more for recruiting new members or distributors than it does for selling actual product. Each of these which is used to pay the people above them. I don't know about this definition. Pyramid schemes are considered illegal because there's more emphasis put. No. See, this is what I mean by all crap articles come out. So this is how you need to find unbiased versus biased research, and that's just by comparing what it says from the FTC, right? And how these people apply the definition differently. The most unbiased would be straight from the FTC, right? And then you can apply it to different websites. Trying to find the latest one. Latest pyramid schemes. I don't know. And I look up a lot of MLM stuff, so that's probably why a lot of this Mary Kay Herbalife is coming up. Let's see. No. It's not even has to do with the emphasis. It just means no genuine product or service is sold. Yes. This would be a warning sign when there's just recruit. Don't even worry, just get money from people. So yes, but there's no problem with recruiting. Easy money. Yes, you shouldn't believe. Nothing's easy. That's just something in life. Nothing's easy. All pyramid schemes collapse. Yes, people start getting angry. Pyramid schemes in history. Albania. 8 of the most notorious Ponzi schemes in U.S. history. Okay, let's see this. His name is Bernie Madoff. It's Ian Bick. Oops. By 2013, Bick was an 18-year-old event promoter with multiple businesses in Danbury, Connecticut. On the outside, they seem to be successful ventures of an entrepreneurial prodigy, but behind the scenes, it was a free-for-all shit show. And generation hustles. Well, Bick says he wasn't trying to run a Ponzi scheme. I looked at it as taking one loan to pay off another loan. And that's what a pyramid scheme is. The feds disagreed. In 2016, Bick was convicted of defrauding his business investors of nearly $500,000. So yes, we know about Charles Ponzi, Lou Pearlman, the man behind platinum-selling boy bands NSYNC and the Backstreet Boys. His legacy also includes a massive Ponzi scheme, in addition to being sued by the very boy bands he created for stealing money. Pearlman swindled investors and banks out of more than $300 million on the basis of companies that only existed on paper. In 2008, he was convicted of conspiracy and money laundering charges and sentenced to 25 years in federal prison. He died at the age of 62 in 2016. Gerald Payne in Greater, that was an MLM. Gerald Payne in Greater Ministries International, 448 million. 1990s, Gerald Payne and his church convinced nearly 20,000 investors to hand over millions in a program that claimed it could double your blessings. The IRS began to investigate based on suspicious bank activity, and by 2001, Payne was convicted and sentenced to 27 years in prison. At the time, the IRS called it one of the biggest Ponzi schemes it had ever investigated. Again, not an MLM. It was a church. Reed Slatkin, 593 million. Earthlink, heard of this? Internet service provider. It doesn't exist anymore, right? Began long before. The Ponzi scheme began long before the company existed. In 2003, the former investment manager pleaded guilty, defrauding his investors. It was an internet service provider, not an MLM. Scott Rothstein. It isn't always finance types who run the biggest scams. Scott Rothstein used his Fort Lauderdale law firm to run an eye-popping $1.2 billion Ponzi scheme. According to the Miami Herald, Rothstein convinced his investors to buy into bogus legal settlements. He was sentenced to 50 years in prison, a term that's held despite his attempts at reduction. Tom Peters, $3.7 billion, okay? Businessman Tom Peters was accused of stealing money from hedge funds, missionaries, and pastors. He promised investors that by pouring money into his organization, they'd fund the purchase of retail merchandise that would then be sold to discount retailers for a profit. Not what happened. Again, not an MLM. R. Alan Stanford masterminded a 20-year scheme via his offshore bank in Antigua, cheating almost 30,000 investors from more than 100 countries out of billions. The scam involved fake certificates of deposit, and prosecutors accused Stanford of funneling funds into his personal interests, including real estate and cricket tournaments. Sentenced to 110 years. Not an MLM. Bernie Madoff. It's unclear what point Bernie Madoff began shaping the largest Ponzi scheme in history. Some may believe it may have extended all the way back to the 1960s. Regardless of the time frame, he conned thousands of investors out of $20 billion in principal funds. After his arrest in 2008, he was sentenced to 150 years prison, 50 years in prison, where he died on April 14th at the age of 82. Not an MLM. Okay, was that this end? Okay, I think that's the end of this article. This is a top 10, and none of them are MLMs, you guys. Please, please don't be part of the agenda. Don't even buy into these people that are selling these things. Please do your research, okay? I'll see you guys in the next one. I'll be back with Erin Bies, but I had to circle back around this topic just so we can have it done with. Okay? Next.